Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. Today's webinar is Streamline Your Milling Workflow for Increased Predictability, Productivity, and Profitability. Our presenters are Nicolas, CEO of VHF Inc., joining us all the way from Germany, and Michael Giacalone, VHF Training and Support Specialist, joining us from the great state of Florida. As a reminder, if you have any questions during the webinar, please type them into the question box and we will address them at the end. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today, and I'll pass it over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Katie. Real pleasure to be here. Welcome, everyone. This is our, third or fourth webinar, I believe, and it's never getting boring. It's always fun stuff to talk about. And well, before we get started, actually, I wanted to give a little caution here. If you have kids or elderly people watching with you, there's some explicit content in this webinar. Hope I know people from Zahn. Katie's probably sweating.
Don't worry, the recorded version will be censored.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that, Mike. So this is us. We'll start off with Mike.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael. Just a little bit about me. I've been with VHF for a little bit over 2 years now. Love it. Every minute of it's a new adventure, new challenges. And I've actually been in the CNC manufacturing industry for about 30 years. So I've been around every type of machine and programming situation you could possibly think of.
Wow, 30 years. You probably think now, what, did he start with 10 when he was 10 or what? But no, really glad to have Mike on our team. He's a wealth of knowledge and of course, relatively fresh to dental with just 2 years, but fast learner. And yeah, dental is definitely fun for all of us.
Yeah, definitely fascinating.
How do you feel, Mike? We were just shot yesterday. No, we were not shot. You got your second shot, right?
Yeah, I actually got my second vaccine shot yesterday, and I feel a little sore. I feel like I've been beat up, but other than that, I feel good, ready to go. No real issues.
Okay, very good. All right, and that's me. I have been with VHF for about almost 5 years now, but have been working with VHF mills for over 10 years. So before joining VHF, I got some experience from a customer's perspective. So that's always very helpful, of course. And I've been in the dental industry for about 17, 18 years now. And boy, it's a lot of fun, I have to say. I have a business background, nothing to do with dental before, but very grateful to learn from the best in the industry. And yeah, it's been a fun ride. That picture actually was taken pre-COVID. So the world was certainly a different one, not only because my hair was shorter back then, but yeah, time has changed a lot. So little bit about VHF. We just wanted to give you a little bit background about the company. VHF, as you know, is a manufacturer of dental milling and grinding machines, but also milling tools and also the software. And that's a super important part. We are not just the machine manufacturer, but we really provide a complete solution here. And why is that so important? Because we really have the control over the whole system, and we can fine-tune the individual parts so that they really work perfectly together. But about that also a little more later. Some fun facts about VHF. We have about 250 employees right now, have been around for more than 30 years. Started out in industrial machine building. And yeah, so you see here on that picture, our campus in Germany, south of Stuttgart. We have actually grown significantly over the past 10 years. And nowadays we have 9 buildings on that campus. So as I just said, we started in the industrial machine building, and that's also important for you to know, because in every single dental machine, there's still the DNA of the industrial side of the business. So definitely the sturdiness, the industrial quality components can be found in every dental machine. Dental machines from VHF are in the market for about 13, 14 years now. And actually this sector has grown so rapidly that nowadays the dental part is about 70% of VHF, and the rest, the 30%, are on the industrial side. We're committed to constantly pushing ourselves and the company to create better products and services for you, our customers. So creating perfection is a suitable claim. And you might think, is that not a little bit OCD? Yes and no. We just pay attention to detail. And in fact, it's our promise also to our customers. And at the same time, also the aspiration for everyone working at VHF to give the best in everything that they do every day. So this photo was actually taken at our staff meeting where all VHF employees expressed their written commitment by signing this large poster, and it reads from inspiration to perfection. And we are a true German company. Actually, I have a video here. It might be better if I play it from the system. Let me pull this up. Hope that works. You see the screen again. This clearly shows that dental from Deutschland, that Germans can also make fun of themselves. We won a prize for this video. I think it's definitely always worthwhile to show it. But yeah, let's look a little bit more about at the products, and just handing over here to Mike.
Yeah, we'll take you through and introduce you to a few of our products. Zahn currently offers 3 of our VHF mills. The first one you see there on the screen is our K5 Plus mill. This is a 5-axis dry milling machine. It's highly accurate and super fast, but this is a heavy duty machine. Like we said earlier, industrial quality. It's 200 pounds of pure power. It's a very small machine, but it weighs a lot. It's a very rigid machine. Maximum versatility with really no limits in dry milling materials and indications. The S5 is the next one in the lineup. This is your most cost-effective changer mill. This is going to be a 5-axis dry mill, but definitely upgradable to wet. So there's an optional wet module that can be added to this mill for wet processing. You can purchase it at the time of purchasing the mill, or you can get into using it as a dry mill and add it on later at any time. It's very convenient, has an 8-disc changer, and this machine is a true workhorse in what it does. And then obviously the flagship of our machines is going to be our R5 mill, and this is a wet and dry milling machine. Pretty much basically milling without limits. This mill is going to have a 10-disc changer. It can hold up to 10 discs, 60 blocks, or 60 abutments, or a combination of them. It uses direct disc technology, so there's no frames needed to load them in. It is 328 pounds, again, industrial build quality in a small 2-foot by 2-foot frame. So that real industrial rigidness really allows us to provide the repeatability and accuracy and the speed you'll get out of these mills. Again, this is true 24-hour unattended automated wet and dry production. The S5 would be a mill where it has wet or dry capabilities, where the R5 is wet and dry. No attendance needed to switch from wet to dry. It can do it on its own. All right. Top sellers and perfect machines to increase your predictability, your productivity, and profitability. We do have other machines, but these are the ones that Zahn carries at this point. And again, we also want to talk about the German engineering at its best. We always hear about it, but these machines are really great quality, heavy duty machines. You can see there showing one of the cast chassis of one of the mills. So you can see it's a heavy one-piece industrial chassis. That's what gives the mill the rigidity again. Again, when these things are set up, you don't have to calibrate them. That all comes from having good quality components.
And actually, if I might just interrupt here, I don't know, some of you might have heard the story already, but it's quite impressive. It happened in Australia that a machine was delivered to a customer, and the service technicians, they had a little problem. The machine slipped out of the hand of one of technicians, and it was on top of the flight of stairs, and the machine fell down the whole flight of stairs, and training was scheduled, and the customer still wanted to get their training because they just cleared their schedule and wanted to go ahead. And technicians connected the mill, and even though it looked terribly from the outside, it just milled perfectly without calibration. And that's, I think, quite remarkable. And this is why I always like to tell the story. You shouldn't try that at home with your milling machine. Very important advice, but it's just an impressive story.
Yeah, it is. It goes a long way to ensure that you're going to get good producibility out of the machine at all times. It also gives you the ability to receive ultra HD milling consistently from the mills. 3 microns repeatability, which we'll talk about a little bit more later on. These machines are powerful and fast premium spindles. So all of the parts, not just the chassis, not just the brackets and pieces that hold all the ball screw drives, but the ball screw drives themselves, the spindles, all German made, high quality premium components inside of these mills. We also have our patented sealing air concept. This is a really great feature inside of the mills. It actually, most milling machines will have a vacuum system hooked up when they're dry milling to suck all the particles and debris out of the milling chamber. But what VHF does, it actually pushes air inside of the milling chamber through all the little crevices, like the picture shows, around where the spindle connects to the milling chamber and where the ball screw for the A and B axis comes in through the side of it, and allows this air to come through so no particles can go back into those sensitive areas and damage components and electronics of the mill, thus allowing the mill to last longer and give you better cuts for a longer time on your investment, and help slide those out the vacuum system. All right, so let's talk about VHF. Earlier, Nicolas had mentioned that we are a complete CAM solution. We talked about the mills. Another area that we produce are the actual milling tools. These are premium tools made in Germany by us as well. These are designed and manufactured by VHF. We're not having a third party actually make or design these tools. These are specialized tools for different materials. So we make, as you can see in the picture, different tools specifically for those different materials and specifically for the different types of mills and the strategies that we are going to run them in. So these tools are premium, designed by us, specifically for the materials, specifically for the mills and the software. So, what happened to the screen there? There we go.
And I'm sorry if I'm a little fast for all of you who wonder why it's maybe not 100% synced. I'm clicking here through the presentation, and sometimes it's not so easy to know exactly when to step forward.
When it's time to move on. Forward. You did a good job for being in another country. So another key component of that is the mills, the tools, and the software. By us actually producing the software as well, we can take the machines that we've produced, we can take the tools that we've designed specifically for materials and those machines, and design specific strategies to be used in our software for that. The DentalCam software itself is very easy and intuitive to operate. We try to take all the guesswork out of the strategy itself. It also offers special milling strategies for each material and indication. So like I was saying, these strategies are fine-tuned and tested over and over for that specific material on that specific machine with the specific tools that were designed for it. So you're getting the best possible results for that combination. 3D nesting, as you can see in the picture, it allows you to see your nest in 3D. So you can really take a good look, rotate it around, and view it from all different angles to make sure it's actually what you want and get the best possible fit for your nesting. Advanced features like angulated screw channels. These are all available inside of the DentalCam software. Included in the machine price for no annual fee. What we're stating there is our software is not an additional charge. It is included in with the price point of the mills, and there are no annual fees for the software of the mills. So pretty much you buy it, you own it. You're not going to have to worry about that fee coming up at the end of the year to worry about having to pay that. It's a all-in-one inclusive package, which makes it really affordable. And
super.
We'll pass it back over to Nicolas to talk about some workflows for you.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Yeah. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some profitable areas for laboratories nowadays. I don't know if you had the chance to join our quick bite yesterday with Amir Juspasic, who went over one area, which is implant prosthetics. I see here two major drivers right now in dental laboratories. One is implant prosthetics, either fixed or removable. The other one is just digital dentures, no implants involved here, digital dentures or other removables. And the materials that are coming to market here are really remarkable right now. One example that we have here is Key-Mill from Keystone. It's a material that we had the pleasure to validate together with Keystone. And it's a high impact material, very strong, and actually also a little bit challenging to mill it. But not for the K5 Plus with which we did this test here. It was actually, when we sent the samples back to Keystone, they were blown away. One, the surface finish was extremely good, and then also the milling time. So it was, I believe, a lower denture base, and that was milled in only 86 minutes, and that was pretty much unheard of. The guys from Keystone, and they were extremely pleased. How is this possible? Mike mentioned it, the sturdy build, the high industrial components just allow us to fine-tune our strategy and our tools so that we can go faster. Then we have the implant side and two popular materials. Or the most popular is probably zirconia that we see here, all on 4, all on 6, all on X cases, where you also need, with those large span prostheses, you need extremely accurate milling, because if if it doesn't fit 100%, either the doctor cannot deliver it, or it might actually give too much stress on the implant and can result into implant failure. So the other product here for fixed prosthetics that we did test just recently is Trelor. That is exclusively distributed by Harvest right now. It's a super cool material because it's lightweight. So compared to zirconia, I don't know how many percent that actually is, but it's significantly lighter. And of course, for such a roundhouse, it's a big advantage for the patient. And as you see here, it's a substructure, so need to have some grounds made for them. How can it be so light and still tough for holding a full arch restoration? It's glass fiber, a material with a high content of glass fiber, which again makes it extremely difficult to mill. And also here we were successful, and the key component that we tweaked here was actually the milling tool. We developed a milling tool right for this specific material. And our first results were also very good already, very fast, but we saw a lot of wear on the tools, much higher than we would normally see. But with this new milling tool that we developed and the fitting strategies, and then overall this sturdy machine, we're able to mill fast and then at the same time have the tools lasting very long. So just those a few examples of profitable areas with new materials. Now let's get to the main part, what you're waiting for: predictability, productivity, profitability. Difficult to say, Katie. That's definitely a challenge. Let's start with predictability. So hand over to Mike again.
Yeah, saying those three back to back is a tongue tire for sure. Predictability. Predictability is something that's very important. The ability to reproduce as close as possible to what has been designed in your design software. You want to have a restoration come out of that mill that's as close as possible to what went in. And that's the whole purpose of milling, is to try and reproduce that as much as possible. And it all comes down to, again, the build, the accuracy of the mills. Our mills have 3 microns repetition accuracy. That is really, really important. The ability to give us ultra HD results. That's for beautiful anatomy and perfect fit without manual adjustments. I mean, that's really unheard of in a lot of areas, not having to go back and refit and rework it. Just to help validate the mills and that type of accuracy, the University of Washington did an independent study on our titanium prefab abutments on one of our smallest machines. And you can see the results there of -10 microns to +26 microns, which is a great standard to have held on those pieces. All right. So let's talk about another day in the lab. So some of the things that can happen and what you can do and how you can try to avoid these from happening. So let's say you get a rush case. Everybody's probably been there. Rush case comes in and you're not prepared for it. Restorations break during the milling. Things like that can happen. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get in a time crunch. You're going to be needing to take care of that right away. So what happened? In some cases, there's 2 possible explanations that could be for this. Maybe, just throwing this out there, maybe there's a new CAD CAM guy. He comes in and he's adjusting the strategies. Maybe your software allows you to go in and tweak the strategies. Softwares that allow that give you a lot of flexibility, but they also open the door for a lot of user error. Simply entering a number wrong, moving too quick. I mean, I come from a big background in full programming capabilities, and you start moving quick and you can easily type a wrong code. that actually can really mess up your strategies and cause one little mistake can cause a big problem on the milling machine. Probably sounds familiar to a lot of you. And even if it's not the new guy, like I said, you get comfortable, you get in those positions, you start moving too quick, you miss something, and it just happens. It's still a chance to mess up the parameters. Maybe you bought some tools from another great manufacturer. You know, you really saved some money. However, these tools wear down much faster. Even the manufacturer, even though they claim that they're high quality, superb tools, maybe they weren't specifically designed for how you're going to use them and what they're going to be run on. So what VHF is going to provide to help this is CAM systems that are not closed, but give you the ability to give you the complete solution. So, hang on a second. Sorry about that. With VHF, you know what you are provided. CAM system out of the box. No calibrations needed to the sturdy build of the machine. Worry-free milling. CAM systems that are fine-tuned. Again, like we said earlier, these tools are designed specifically for the materials, and they're also specifically for the mills. We have different tools that will run on our 5-axis mills from our 4-axis mills. So they're designed for the mills as well. And that's something that you can trust, tools that fit perfectly with strategies. And I want to be careful, we're not a closed system. It just works as a pre-configured open system. We are still an open system. We just have pre-configured strategies to help you speed up your programming, get consistent results out every time, and take that possible user error out of it. And again, that's giving you the predictability and the productivity out of the mill.
And if I may add here, probably there are also some pre-configured standard strategies from third-party CAM providers, but the question is really if they are just going for speed, for example, because that's the easiest variable to go after. But what effect does that have on the machine? What effect does that have on the milling tool? So again, having all those components in our control, we are able to fine tune it, not only go after one parameter, but to see the full picture and really optimize it to have the best results short term with your production, but then also long term with the longevity of the milling machine. But again, it's an open system. If you decide to work with different tools, you're welcome to do that. If you decide to work with different CAM software, we do work with other CAM software providers, and we have post processors for those. So it is an option if you desire to do so. All right, productivity. Extremely important. Of course, everyone wants to be more productive, cannot get more hours in a day, or you could, but then your family will complain, or you will have lack of sleep. So how do you get more productive in your lab? One thing is, in general, of course, CAD/CAM will help you reducing the time that you and your staff spends in the lab. Be more productive, get more cases out of the day, but a mill with a blank changer will increase that productivity again significantly. And why is that? Of course, you have so many different materials, and even if you only focus on zirconia, you have so many different blank heights and shades nowadays that you would constantly go back to the mill, take the puck out, put the new puck in, start the mill again. And that going back and forth alone, plus then the time you don't know always when exactly the milling is finished. So you might lose some time there. The blank changer definitely helps a lot because you can load it even before you go home, load it with a bunch of cases, and next morning you come to the lab, you have everything milled out. And yeah, blank changer, this is the picture here of the S5. That's the most cost-effective blank changer mill that VHF offers. And then we have the R5 that we also saw earlier with a 10 disk blank changer. S5 is 8 disk, R5 is 10 disk. Another very cool thing is the direct disk function. That's actually a completely new patent pending, no, I think it is patented system now that we offer for all 3 mills. And let me go here again and show you a little video what that means. So I hope you can see my screen again. But it is that easy. It looks very easy to load a puck, and it is that easy. You just have to move a lever, put the disk in, close, and you're done. And you know what? How many seconds do you save with not unscrewing a few screws? Probably not so many, but over time, it saves you quite a lot of time. And when we first introduced that, I remember that in Chicago, people were blown away because it's cumbersome. Those little screws, 4 screws, it's just so much easier and so convenient with that direct disk in the K5. And similar thing here with the R5. You see a picture here. We have the disk magazine on the bottom of the machine, and you see here there's below that disk there's a little it's lever or flap that opens up. You put the disk in, it closes. It takes literally a second to load the disk in the machine. Then you can select a new position and load the next disk. We just wanted to make it as easy as possible to load the disk. And very important here to add, you load the puck into the machine. It's not a frame. You load only the puck into the machine. So super fast, super easy. But also for the S5, that was actually the last edition because it was such a big success and people were demanding, hey, we want that too for the new machine S5, but also for the existing ones, the S2 has a similar loading system. And to show you here first, what does a conventional frame looks like, the loading, I hope you can see it. Basically, you open the 2 little things on the side and then 2 screws. I guess, you know, a person who does that every day is a little faster than I was here in the video, but you know, takes some time. Then there is also the risk of over torquing, and I'm sure you all have experienced that in whatever machine, that if you have too much pressure on the disk, there's some, especially with the high translucent zirconia that is very brittle, it's just breaking off some material. And now, drum roll, the new quick frame. It is completely magnetic, so it's convenient, fast. You open it, you close it, done. It's so beautiful. I have to play it again.
Yeah.
Open, put it in, close. So super easy and no risk of over torquing. So definitely a big advantage. Again, this is not only available for the new S5, but also for all people of you in the market that have the S2. You can use those quick frames. Cleaning. Cleaning. Nobody wants to clean, not at home, and definitely not a milling machine. There are certain things that are really a pain in the neck, PMMA milling, for example. So for all of you who have had to clean a mill, and including myself, I did this to just see how it is. It's those things are just clingy, those flakes, and it's really difficult. You can have the best suction unit, the best airflow system in your mill, and still it looks like winter wonderland in a mill. But all new VHF mills have an ionizer. So that's the picture here without the ionizer, and that's the same disc or the same job milled in a mill with an ionizer. So I would say this is very obvious here. I don't have to talk much more. It's day and night difference. And then with the R5, we even went one step further. Again, all mills have ionizers, but with the R5, we actually have also a more advanced auto cleaning. It blows air into the milling chamber, so it's not only extracting through the suction unit, but there's some airflow through the spindle that blows particle in the direction of the extraction. And then also at the same time, since the R5 is a wet and dry mill, it also automatically dries. So for all of you who do wet and dry milling, it's difficult to do it with one machine. We typically say, like with an S5 that has the wet option, use it either for wet milling or for dry milling, or you just have to properly clean the zirconia dust, for example, out of the mill before you start a wet job. Otherwise, it will just be a very sticky, like a sticky material, some on the bottom. And the same the other way around. If you wet mill and then afterwards you want to work on zirconia, if there's too much water in the mill, and it might even be high humidity, then there's definitely the risk that the zirconia would take on that humidity or that moisture, and you might see cracks in your sintering oven. Not the sintering oven would crack, but the restoration would crack when it's heating up in the sintering oven. That's the risk. This is why in a regular mill, everything needs to be cleaned properly and dried properly before you can go to the next job. With the R5, it's all automated. So you have that auto cleaning that takes out all the dust, or the auto drying that is basically working like a hair dryer. There's again air coming through the spindle. It's warm air. There's a ventilation system so that the moist air, the humidity can get out of the mill, and it works really, really nice. So you can load your jobs in your mill and run it basically 24/7. Wet mill, no problem, all in one shot. Then there's another cool thing that increases your productivity, and that's called direct mill function. Again, with working on having the software in our control, we actually start milling before the actual job calculation is finished. So typically, as you see here, the CAM software is calculating the milling path, the path of the milling tool. And that takes some time, depending on the size of the restoration and the power of your computer, but it typically takes some time. In a regular setup, the mill would wait till this calculation is done, and then the job would send to the mill, and the mill would start. You lose a few minutes at least. But with the VHF direct mill function, once the CAM software calculated the first package, the first tool path, it is already sending it to the mill so that the mill can start milling and being productive while the computer is still finishing up the calculation. So huge time saving here, and there's basically no downtime with the mill. The mill is not waiting, it's just starting. Okay, Mike, tell us a little bit more about the profitability.
No problem. Profitability. This is something that's very important to everybody. So number one thing, versatility, no outsourcing needed. Well, what do we mean by no outsourcing? These mills, especially the R5, when we talk about the R5, this covers the broadest range of indications due to the plus or minus 35 degrees of rotation in the fifth axis, the ability to hold up to a 40 millimeter thick puck or disc, no limit to materials. VHF is an independent manufacturer of mills. We don't have any direct ties to materials or material manufacturers. So it really gives us the ability to keep adding materials as they come and really give you that future versatility with them. The value for the money. Again, this mill is, what do you think the MSRP would be? For this top of the line mill, the R5, it's $69,400. So this mill looks and performs like a Porsche, but is the price of a Volkswagen. So it is a great mill for the money, value all around. Cost of ownership.
And just to add here, I mean, this is really the top of the line, the flagship, the most expensive one. Mills in the market with comparable features are definitely 6-digit, and you get here, no matter if it's the top of the line or a more cost-effective mill, you always get the best value for the money.
Yeah, and the biggest one that's going to come up is going to be your cost of ownership. You know, total cost of ownership. We want to compare apple to apples. Is the CAM software included? Annual fees, things like that. Our CAM software is always included with our mills. There's no annual fees, again, no yearly service charges, things like that for the software. 24-month warranty included. So you're getting a good lifetime of the mill and the parts. But, you know, what if the mill lasts 2 years longer? How much money can you make within those 2 years? And think about it, if you own the mill for 8 years, how much are you paying in annual fees over those 8 years? That's all additional cost that's coming into your profitability or going out of your profitability if you're having to pay those. So a lot of different things allow us to robust builds, more fine-tuned strategies, tooling designed specifically for them so you're getting the best life out of the tools. The software is giving you the best cuts and results out of the mill. Again, earlier on we said we want the restoration coming out of the mill to be as close as possible to what was designed. With that 3 microns repeatability, and you're getting results out of the mill that are going to require less work on the post side than a lot of your other options. So again, all this comes back to the cost of ownership.
So you stayed through the whole presentation, and now you're probably asking yourself, where was the explicit content?
Yeah, we got it. We got right with your question. We do have dental milling porn for you.
And I'll show it to you. All right.
One of the things I like to mention when we show the milling porn is one of the reasons we like to say that is you'd be surprised the first impressions when people see the R5 mill, the comments we get the most is that's a very sexy looking machine. And it is. It's really a great looking machine to add to your portfolio.
Very good. And Mike, actually, I thought earlier when we played the first video, the dental from Deutschland, it's a little odd. There's no response from the audience, no laughter. We should have that like a laughter from tape, like in those sitcoms or something like that.
Yeah, we could do that, live audience.
Very good. Katie, are there any questions?
Great idea. I love the idea about, having some audience reaction. Right now we don't have any questions, but we can wait a few minutes and see if any pop in.
Okay, in the meantime, a little advertisement here for Lab Day Online. We have actually 4 great speakers that present for us: Chris Schermerhorn, Jay Collins, Amir Juspasic, and Mike Shearer. All 4 great professionals, and they have some very interesting things to present to you on Lab Day Online, and May 10th, is just around the corner. So not a long time to wait.
One question came in that says, what metals can I mill, if any, out of my K5 mill?
Very good question. So the K5 is a dry only mill. So you would technically think, oh my God, dry probably cannot do any metal or some sintered metal or something. No, all VHF mills can mill cobalt chrome in the final stage. So the mills are sturdy enough to dry mill cobalt chrome. It cannot mill titanium because titanium can only melt wet whatsoever. There's even the risk of catching fire, those little chips, titanium chips. But cobalt chrome is definitely possible. And again, you don't need the sintered cobalt chrome that some other manufacturers use in the market, where you always need an extra furnace and with some argon gas or something like that. So you need to post-process it. That's not necessary here. You can take the real cobalt chrome and mill it with your K5.
And
Thank you for your question.
Just to add to that, since we're talking about it, the S5, if you use it the dry way, again, you would be able to do the cobalt chrome. You could always add the wet kit to it, and then you'd be able to process your titanium abutments. And the R5, obviously, a wet and dry mill can already handle both of those materials.
Awesome. We don't have any more questions right now, but we can wait another minute to see if any jump in.
If you don't have any questions now, please also feel free to contact your Zahn representative with your questions, or you can also reach out to VHF directly for questions, and we are happy to help here. Could just write to info@vhf.com, for example, or reach out to Mike directly, find him in social media, or myself.
Perfect. And we have one question about trade-in promotions. As Nicolas said, you can contact your Zahn rep and they will, tell you all about the promotions we have going on right now. One other question, can we use other CAM systems like Hyperdent on VHF mills?
Yeah, that's possible. We have post processors with Hyperdent, and it works. As I said, there are some advantages to go with the VHF dental CAM software, but it certainly works. Maybe with just one word here in regards to warranty, we have some warranty exclusions if you buy a mill new, just because we have limited influence on the CAM software. So technically, the CAM software, if there would be a problem, if you choose something, select something that is not supposed to be, you could damage the mill, and those things are have to be excluded from the warranty. But other than that, feel free.